A few weeks ago, we received a CTGY email letting us know that one of our co-workers, one of our colleagues, had died unexpectedly in an accident, Richard Dunn. I was in New York actually going between meetings when I got the email, and I literally stopped in the street and then sat down on a stoop, and I started to write a note to everybody to respond to it. And I got 3 or 4 sentences into it, and none of it made sense to me or felt right, so I deleted it, and then I started it again, and then I stopped. And I knew that we had this coming up, and even though receiving the news in that way was completely appropriate, given the size of our company and the scale of it and where we are, responding to it and acknowledging it, I felt at least for me, demanded a little bit more time and being a little bit more personal. There were probably people in this room that never met Richard. There were some that knew him very well as a co-worker and even a friend. And I was somewhere in between that, in that he and I had one of those backstage passing relationships, in tech or previews or at the close of a show, and the conversations were all about how's everything going? Is everything going in okay? How was tonight? You ready for the next one? But there was always something about him that I found, very immediate and bright and energetic. I was able to get his official obituary that was written at the funeral home, and then some recollections of some of the people that knew him a little bit better than I or many of you. So I'd just like to take a moment. This is someone that was very important to us, and I think that this is a moment when we look around and we realize that everyone in this room chose to be in this business for some very specific reason. As I think back over my decades, originally when I started doing this as a teenager, working in the theater, I always described it as I fell in love with the theater. And as I got, I think, a little bit older and a little bit more self-aware and maybe even a little bit more mature in my thinking, I realized that I actually didn't fall in love with the theater. What I really fell in love with were the people that work in the theater, every single person, because there is something that draws us from where we were to this world. And for me, it's always been the people that I've worked with, more than a show on the stage or the effect that it has on the audience or the applause that comes with it or the challenges. It's who's doing it, not what it is. So I want to take a moment. I'm actually going to read both from a little bit from his official obituary and then some recollections. So officially, Richard Zachary Dunn, 25, a wonderfully unique and vibrant man, died suddenly on Friday, January 12th, 2018, in a tragic accident in Los Angeles, California. Born in Rhinebeck, New York, to Richard Gary and Kathy Dunn on June 19th, 1992, Richard had a sense of humor beyond compare. And even in my very quick passing relationship with him, that was something that I noticed. Creative and intelligent, Richard graduated from Susquehanna University in Pennsylvania with a degree in theater design and production. Following graduation in 2014, Ricky boldly headed to California to follow his dreams. Richard's vivacious personality and passion for adventure were welcomed readily in the theater community, where he worked as a carpenter and stagehand for the Center Theater Group and the Geffen Playhouse. Ricky loved his work and the people he worked with, and took immense pride in his success. He loved riding his motorcycle, off-roading in his Jeep, and trying new things. California became his home, and he took advantage of every opportunity to explore and enjoy it. Charming, genuine, and gifted with comedic timing, Ricky made friends all over the country and left an impression on everyone he met. So clearly, this was a person of talent and substance in our midst. Chris Reardon was kind enough to send me another email with some more personal company and backstage recollections that I'll now read. Richard refused to wear shirts with sleeves, like ever. When he would get cold backstage at the KDT, he had a sleeveless hoodie that he made that he would wear. He also had a sleeveless shirt that he bought in LA that said, "Sun's out, guns out." And this was his personal moment. Along this line, at some point, a random fur vest, think Viking style, made its way to the KDT, and Richard grabbed it as his own. He would wear it during load-ins and techs. When we did Big Night, William Ivy Lowell spent a good deal of time fawning over Richard, much to our delight. Whenever we needed an additional run crew member, Richard would be the first person we asked. Unfortunately, this meant he had to wear sleeves. He would often be asked to put on a costume for this, a task he outwardly enjoyed. During Chavez Ravine, we made him wear a Dodgers uniform and come on stage for a scene. But then we had to ask him to tone it down so that he didn't pull focus from Richard Montoya. Those are the type of people that make what we do worthwhile. And I think let's just take a moment and just think of Richard, his family, and our family. We are going to honor Richard with a seat plaque at the KDT. And I should say, he'll always be with us.